Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people, the buzz, and everybody else in between. The Friday Night Freak Show has begun. We've got a lot of stuff to break down this evening. We got a full house. We got a million guests kicking it with us tonight, including Steve Merrill, Cam Stewart, Tony Finn, Rob Vino, Mick Aussie, Joe Madden. Full house stacked tonight. We got the NBA Rising Stars game going on right now. The first game is done. It was a close one, really close, very competitive late, a lot of smack talk. It was actually pretty funny, actually. Ben Mathurin from Montreal, our boy Ben Mathurin. And you remember when Ben Mathurin came into the NBA, he said, we'll see if this LeBron James guy can guard me. And he goes, I really haven't seen him play that much. He said, I really haven't seen him play that much. He goes, but I know he's like named as the best player, so we'll see if he can guard me. I want to gauge myself against LeBron James. And remember, too, Ben Mathurin's the one that accidentally touched the cheerleader's breast off the court. Remember, like, I think it was Baylor. They were in the NCAA tournament. They made it to, like, the Final Four or something. Maybe it was the Elite Eight. I think they made it to the Elite Eight with him. They went pretty far. It was the Elite Eight. But you remember, they won, and he walked off the court and was like, dude, what are you doing? He kind of got away with that. Like, you know what I mean, I was surprised it wasn't a bigger deal. And they talked about LeBron. And the first time he played LeBron, he hung like 23 on him. And LeBron even said after, he goes, man, yeah, that kid's, I like that kid. He talked and he backed it up. So Mathurin kind of took over the first game. And they won by like 2 type of thing, 2 or 3. They got to the target score. It was funny. Mathurin was on the free throw line late. He could have won the game. They were at 38. If he hit both free throws, they were going to win. And he says to Jaden Ivey, I'll bet you $25,000 right now that I hit them both and end this thing. And he bricked them both. Then he ended up getting a winning basket after. Shout out to everyone joining us on Sirius XM channel 159 right now. I've got way too much money on an NBA Rising Stars game, and the G League guys are taking it to the NBA guys right now. It's 13-8 right now. They're playing defense. And the NBA guys aren't getting it done. It's 13-8 for Team Shrimp. These G League guys are fired up. They just hammered down another dunk. Pretty crazy to say that you need to call a timeout, but yeah, you need to call a timeout here. Like, it's first to 40. This thing can escalate fast. Wow. We got a game. Man. So the first underdog covered tonight, and now it looks like this underdog. I like the 6.5, but I got a lot of money line stuff here. I'm also on the under. I rarely play unders in these all-star games, but I thought the points would be tougher to come by in this one, and we wouldn't get to 74. At this rate, we will. Boy, this is a little bit of a sweat job early. I wasn't anticipating this. As soon as you think something's a lock, it isn't, huh? I'll tell you right now, though, in-game number right now, Team Detlef Schrempf, they're still getting 3.5 points. This might be worthy of a middle, actually. Like, Team Pau Gasol is still minus 3.5. They're minus 125 on the money line right now. I'm on Team Pau Gasol. I'm not going to panic. I'm not happy about this start. But to be honest, I was also on Team Tamika earlier tonight. And they added a 9-0 lead. I was like, man, am I ever smart? I was like, man, I kill these all-star games. And, like, you know, it's true. I do. That's why I go big on these things. Sometimes it backfires, though. And then you're like, why the hell did I go so big on this? But we were up 9-0, and I'm thinking, man, this is going to be a cruise job. Like, wow, this is easy money. And they ended up losing. They got sloppy, and they were missing dunks, and they were, like, taking bad threes. That's the thing with these games, right? And especially it's quick, man. It's first to 40. So, like, if one team sort of, like, is taking it more serious, like, you're in a lot of trouble. And right now, this G League team, we knew the G League team would be fired up. Right, the G League team, you're playing against Wembanyama and these NBA big names and stuff. You're stuck in the G League. Remember last year, look, the dude from the G League won the damn slam dunk contest. And he's favored to win this year, actually. So these G League guys, I knew they'd be fired up, but I also thought there's no way in hell you're going to be able to play with Wembanyama and these dudes. If I was right now Paul Gasol, the coach, I would just tell them, listen, you got to play you got to play a little bit of defense here. Otherwise, we're going to get embarrassed by these G League guys. And number 2, get the ball to Wembanyama, okay? Like, point blank. I'd say, Miller, you take some threes, and Wemby, you just dunk it, bro. Like, we got to wake up. Like, And I'll tell you, though, like Paul Gasol did look concerned about this. So this is where we're at. This is our night tonight. We do have other basketball going on. We got a good game coming up tonight. San Diego State and the Lobos, big-time rivals, Mountain West. San Diego State right now, 5.5-point favorites. Let's see, is it 5.5? That's like sort of the pre-tip number here. No, it's 6. 6 and 151. So this thing's getting ready. It's sort of in between tip-off and off the board, on the board, and it's sort of in between. The in-game number is 5.5, but you can still get the pregame number at 6 right now. Total 151. When people think of San Diego State, you think of unders, and I get it, but they're not really the same type of team anymore. New Mexico like to play an up-tempo game as well. Let's pull the trigger here. We're going to go with we're going to take the 6 points. We're going to take the underdog here. I think this game's going to be a close game. So we're going to take the underdog plus 6, and we'll go over 151. So Sheriff Lobo. Sheriff Lobo plus the 6, and let's go over the number. And for some reason, I had a problem. All right, let's get this in and get it over with. There we go. All right, New Mexico plus 6 and over 151 we're in. Man, 15-8, man. These G League guys, looks like they're going to the free throw line here too. I'm not happy about this. This is really going to, it's going to throw me off, actually, this. This isn't good. This is like Jimmy on Seinfeld. Jimmy and misunderstandings don't get along. Wow. The Dunker McClung just hit a shot. It's 17-8 team deadlift right now. There's Wembanyama. Looks like they just called a foul. They're calling fouls in this stuff. That's the thing, man. These G League dudes, they're playing D. They're trying for real. And the NBA guys don't seem to understand this. They're sort of playing at half speed. You're about to get run off a freaking floor, man. This is a disaster. It's 17-8. First to 40. All right, they just got a deuce here. You got to get back on D now, man. Hurry up. 17-10. I got the under in this game, too, and I'm concerned because, I got to be honest. I thought the score would be like this, but I thought the Team Pow would be rolling them. I figured the Team Pow would win this game 40-30 or something. They're down 19-10. So, it's getting to the point now where, they're going to have to, frantically come back, and it's not going to stay under because they're both going to be close to, 40 here. You know what I mean? And it's going to add up, the target score. It should be noted in the final game coming up here, in the championship game, the target score is only 25. So that one's really going to be quick. 21-13 right now for Team Detlef Shrimp. We'll keep our eye on this. Steve Merrill's going to step up and in. NASCAR is back. Daytona 500. We got a full slate of college basketball. This is Sports Rage.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where the Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management.
Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game to take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage late
sort
night.
of has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Thanks, I appreciate this. You want one of these?
I'm good, KG.
You want your ginger shot?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I need some positivity today. I'm trying to cover this spread, and your vibe is off, G.
What's wrong with my vibe?
You got to get you one of these, G. Get to sip some of this positivity in your life, and boom! You see that? Spread's covered. Thank you, Mama. In a minute, G. Ha ha!
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. It's 29-20 right now. Team Detlef Shrimp leading Team Pau Gasol. It's first to 40, wins the basketball game. Whoa, Wembanyama with a vicious dunk there. That was slick. But, so Team Gasol right now, they're waking up. Like, they're realizing the gravity of the situation here. Isn't that over and back on the court here? I can't believe I'm getting stressed out about calls, but it is. Yeah, our ball.
You're stressed out about the
ball.
Detlef Shrimp game. It's like, yes, that's hardcore.
I'm very stressed. I have way too much money on this, and like it's not going the way that I want. No, dude, they're challenging plays and stuff. They were challenging fouls earlier tonight. This is one of these classic cases, Cam. Boom, 3-ball. Should have known. It's the G League team. They're all G League guys on Team Detlef Shrimp.
Yeah.
And they're taking on Wembanyama and these guys, all NBA guys. You know the G League guys are freaking fired up, right? Yeah. They're like, everyone thinks that we're going to get killed, that we suck, we're in the G League. And they're winning, bro. They're winning 29-25 right now. Like, they were winning by like 10. Come on, Wembanyama. They were winning by like 10 before 12. They were kicking their ass. Team Pau Gasol's cut the lead to 4. They're getting back into it. 29-25. First to 40 wins. So it's getting real. You can totally see anyone who's watching this right now. You can see they're getting serious here. Just dunk the ball, Wembanyama. Hurry up, bro. Let's go.
Oh, Morency, you're just, I had tennis and golf, and you're stressing out at All-Star. We need help. But anyway, anything from this New Mexico game?
Yeah, I'm on New Mexico plus the points and the over 151. But I've got big money on this. I've got concerns here. Let's bring in Steve Merrill right now. NBA All-Star Weekend. Steve, how you doing, Steve?
Steve.
I did a video this afternoon. I don't know if it's on Wager Talk TV yet, breaking down the slam dunk contest. And I'll tell you what, I wasted a good hour and a half doing a deep dive into that research, but it was fun. And
I'll tell you what, I got a guy too, so we'll see if we agree. I like Jacob Toppin at 6-1. That's my pick.
Boom.
Who did you go with?
I like that.
So I went into the video, thinking McClung's at -250 now at most books. There's not a lot of value there, but I do think he's going to win it. But you're exactly right, Gabe. My long shot, and I say this in the video, people can watch it Saturday when it's up at Wager Talk TV, is Toppin is my long shot. He's 5 or 6-1. I saw him at one of the offshores at like 8-1. And if you're looking for a long shot, I think it's him. Jaylen Brown's priced at 4-1. He's the consensus second pick. I do not like him at all.
No.
I mean, it's just he's an all-star.
But props to him. Props to him for being a real
totally
player
agree.
and saying, I'll do it. Hey, I'm in. I'll
First
do it.
time
Right?
in 7
Props to
years.
him. Wow. First time in 7 years an all-star. Yeah.
Well, 6 years. The first time in the last 7 contests. 2018 was the last one. There have been 6 since then that they didn't have all-stars. But I looked up the verticals. I was digging deep, man. He's got a 40-inch vertical. That's impressive. It's more than we've got. But McClung's got a 42.5-inch. It's one of the top 10 ever. But Toppin, a couple things I do like about him. First of all, they had him at Kentucky when he transferred from Rhode Island. A 45-inch vertical's been reported, which is insane. And then his brother, Obi Toppin, won it the year before McClung, won it 2 years ago. And he's a pacer. So you got to figure there's going to be some hometown love for him, even though he's technically a Knick. And the other thing about Jacob Toppin, he's basically a G Leaguer. The Knicks called him up a couple months ago. He's only played 5 games, 30 total minutes, 13 points. So he's got the G League angle like McClung had. He's 6'8", but he jumps 45 inches. Now, McClung is 6'2". He's going to be the guy to beat still. But if you're looking for a flyer, I think Toppin is the long shot, Gabe. I'm with you. And FanDuel even has an exact finals matchup. Brown and McClung are plus 185. I don't like Brown once again, but Toppin and McClung are like plus 230. Probably not the true value, but I think that's worth a little bit of a flyer as well for fun.
McClung's like the real white man can't jump type of like ringer.
Yeah, he's got so much going for him.
He's been burning people for years in these dunk contests. Like going back to high school, like short white kid comes in and boom, right?
Yeah,
everyone's like, whoa, and they're like, and everyone doubts him, and then he wins the NBA slam dunk contest. So the kid, I love same angles. It shouldn't have anything to do with it, Steve, but don't tell me that just sort of subconsciously that they're not thinking, wow, what a story, man. 2 brothers win the slam dunk contest. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's sort of there. And same thing, dude. Toppin can, like, fly, bro. Like, this guy can get, like, above the rim type thing. He's already tall and he can jump. So now with Jaylen Brown, like, now it's going to come down to creativity almost. And it's another thing. Toppin is known for being really creative, like in games even. So he's going to come up with some real crazy stuff. I like the angle. I like the G League angle as well. And
I think
that
McClung winning it last year hurts him a little bit, don't you, Gabe? That's another reason.
Oh, that's the last thing I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I wanted to get to. And I have the list here, Steve. Bro, only 4 people have ever repeated in this thing.
Yeah,
and
but
they're all
one
like,
of them was Nate Robinson, another short guy.
I know. Little Nate. Yeah.
Nate won it 3 out of the 4 times he was in the 2000s. So
because he was so short, they liked it.
A 6'2" guy jumping 42 is a lot more impressive than a 6'8" guy jumping 45. As you know, you literally, like you said, have to go over the rim to impress anybody.
What about Sabrina versus Steph, Gabe? I got 185 on my book, and I'm giving it a long, hard look for the ladies to beat the guys. Sabrina versus Curry in the 3-point shootout thing. She's like, that's a crazy price.
It was anybody other than Curry. Anybody other than Curry. He's the best shooter in the history of it. I know, but he's the best shooter in the history of the sport. And I know he's aging, but still, he is unbelievable.
I want to bet against
him. And also,
nobody's going to be guarding him, Cam. You know how good he is when no one's guarding him.
Oh,
probably.
I know. I was just trying to think. You know, I'm looking at the price.
Well, you know what's crazy though is the prices come down. Like Curry was in the minus 300 range. He's down to minus 220 right now. Sabrina, because when I saw the first number, I didn't have availability to do it, but I saw it earlier in the week. I was like, I'll take a shot with her at plus 260. I was like, because of the price at plus 260, but I'm seeing plus 170 right now for her.
Interesting. It's my book again.
You can almost argue, like Steve said, you're getting the greatest shooter in NBA history at minus 220 against a WNBA player, Steve. From a value, you could almost argue that this is value.
Unguarded.
Right?
Unguarded. I think we're going to look
think
back
about
on
it,
this.
Cam.
I just want to bet against.
Think about it. It's like Tiger Woods. It's like Tiger Woods versus a top women's golfer. No disrespect, but it's minus 220.
I know.
It's like,
and she'll be more nervous on top of that, I would think. It's bigger to her, the nerves. I mean, Curry's won NBA Finals with guys guarding him, shooting shots.
No, but I'm like Cam. I'm sure Cam's thinking the same thing, and I want to see a handicap, Cam. You gonna give me 6.5 balls or something? Give me like 4.5, 3. Like, give me like
excellent point, Morency. Like, I need. You know what I mean? If these books are coming out there, if you're gonna give me that, I want a handicap so I can at least bet on her because she's probably not gonna win, but I need something. I just want to cheer against the favorites.
People bet on her Wait till next year when it's Caitlin Clark.
I was just thinking the same thing.
It's going to be
what she
like
did last night was unbelievable. She hits a logo 3 to break the scoring record. That was just, if you're not a fan already, you got to be. I respect that. I mean, that's like a Jordan type move right there. Just knowing that
she
you
knew
can do whatever
too.
you want. Oh yeah,
like she knew, right? She's at 6, so she knew. It's like, all right, I hit this 3, I win a record, right? So she hits it from the logo, which was slick. So it's 37-32 right now. The G League guys are up. They're going for the 3 with the win. It was an air ball, but man, they fouled them. They're about to win this game. I'm going to hit the under.
First half line on that? Was there like an early line, like a first half, or however they said it, 1st to 20? Because that's probably a great way to play that in the future.
I love that angle. Up and comer G leaguers who want to show themselves off versus guys that are already
early
been
in the game.
It's just one of those things, you know. It's just, that's us. That's what
we say that now. I'm smashing this other effing team in the final, bro. I'm getting all my money back. Like, I'm going all in on Team Jalen.
No, I don't disagree. That's why I said the early bet was the play. Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah, I'm locked in chasing that. I'm just thinking, man, my bankroll is shot, bro. I wish I was one of those 1%ers tonight.
Yeah.
1.5%. I put like 48%. Son of a God!
I'm sort of starting to figure out where the Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management.
Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, Gabe, BC's finest.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game could take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas, maybe in the future, to get Luka Doncic?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage Late
sort
Night.
of has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
right, this is getting close here late. Wembanyama is really trying to, carry this thing at the end. He probably got away with a goaltending, and they didn't call it. As I stated, he just blocked a shot from McClung. I think they want to review it. Or they were going to review it. The game is on the line. It's 39-36 right now. It's the first of 40. Dude, it was like 37-30 type thing. They've stormed back. They had a 3-ball that they just took a possession ago. If they would have hit, they could have gotten it to 37, and then they could have got a stop. And if they hit another 3, they could have stolen this thing 40-39 on the way out. But it is competitive. It is cool. So and then we got the final game coming up here. It's 3-1 for the Carolina Hurricanes right now over the Arizona Coyotes in the sole NHL game of the night. So let's get into some college basketball. We'll keep our eye on this while they review this play and they go to the break. Steve, what was your opinion on the New Mexico-San Diego State game tonight?
On San Diego State, actually, so we'll see what happens. I'm on the opposite side of you guys, I think, from what you were saying. But San Diego State, really good current form. I just liked them at home tonight. We'll see what happens. Went from about 6 to 6.5 during the day.
Yeah, it ended up closing at 6. 10-9 right now, New Mexico. Still early. They only played 6 minutes. In-game total 152.5 right now. But let's get after some of the games tomorrow on the slate. Texas Tech, Steve, getting 7.5 against Iowa State. Iowa State have had a nice little run as of late. Big win against Cincinnati on the road. And we know how good they are at home, but is this too many points to be laying to Texas Tech?
Yeah, just before I came on tonight, I just recorded my top 25 video for Wager Talk TV. It'll be up hopefully late tonight into Saturday morning. There's 3 top 25 games, but I did 2 bonus games, and this was one of them because Texas Tech currently 28th, their third most additional votes against number 10 Iowa State. And if Texas Tech pulls this upset, they will definitely be ranked next week. Might even have a chance already because they beat Kansas pretty handedly on Monday. But now I do think they're up against it a bit as a 7.5-point dog. I like this Texas Tech team. I think they're an underrated team. They should be top 25. But Iowa State, the third most efficient defense in the country at home. Just not sure they can.
The Cyclones.
Yeah, I'm just not sure they can win another big game within 6 days here. I think Iowa State's probably the play. It's a little pricey, though.
It is. It's 7.5. Creighton and Butler, 2 efficient teams. Creighton and Butler, totals 151. I'm attracted to the over here. 151. Creighton are 3-point road favorites in this game, Steve. Sort of seems trappish that Butler's the play.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, the over does make sense. This isn't your Brad Stevens Butler, right? I mean, they were the slowest team in the country those years they made the finals, but they play much more up-tempo now. They're in the top third as far as pace this season among all 362 teams. And you look at Creighton, they're actually playing slower than normal. I think the home team normally can dictate the tempo, though, so that would probably coincide with the total as well.
Game of the day, guys, Marquette and UConn. Heavyweight battle here. What do you think of that one, Steve? Right now, Marquette are getting 6.5.
Yeah, right now we got UConn, the number 1 team in the AP, Marquette ranked 4th. I think they're probably both a little bit overranked. I think Purdue and Houston are probably the 2 most talented teams. I'd have UConn maybe 3rd. Marquette probably would be a 4 or 5 seed right now, in my opinion. So they're a phony top 4 team, and that's why they're a 6.5-point dog. Yet we've seen some money come in on Marquette, and they won 2 of the 3 head-to-head meetings last year outright, including in the conference tournament. So I do think they're a live dog.
Cam, you got a game you want to throw at him?
I do. Texas at number 3, Houston opening up at 10, and I see some 10.5s out there now, Steve. What's the deal? It's a lot of points.
Yeah, and it's funny, Cam, when I was, scamming the top 25, I had those 3 matchups for the video, and then I kind of dig a little deeper to find those top 30 teams, and I saw Houston, Texas. I was looking at the additional votes. I'm thinking, well, Texas has got to be close to being a top 30 team. I mean, they're nowhere close right now. They're having a little bit of a down season. I do think Houston is probably the best overall team. They're the number 1 efficiency defense in the nation. They're only 17th on offense. They had that loss at Kansas a couple Saturdays ago, which was a high-profile game. Just don't know if Texas is still at that level of opponent where they can pull the upset here. And they play slow, but Houston plays slower. Texas really good offensively, though. Top 20 offensive team. Both of these teams are. So maybe we get a sneaky over here. Very rarely do I want to play Houston games over, but these are 2 of the best offensive teams efficiency-wise in the country.
Yeah, and they went to overtime last time, so we sort of got lucky. I was on the over last time. I thought it was too light at 130. I think it got to overtime at exactly actually the 130. Kansas and Oklahoma, Steve. Kansas have not been a very good road team this year at all.
No, they haven't. They only opened as a 1-point favorite this afternoon. Now it's up to 2 in most spots across the board, and that might seem like a small line, the 1.5 to 2 point road favorite. But like you said, they've been inconsistent on the road.
They've lost 4 in a row on the
number-
road, guys. 5 of 6 and 4 in a row.
You know what's crazy too, Gabe? That upset win against Houston. They were 1-point home dog, undefeated home court. If I'm not mistaken, they had like an 18-3 turnover deficit, and they still won that game by double digits. So it's really bizarre how much weaker they've been on the road this year versus home. Oklahoma, number 25, they're probably not going to stay ranked unless they win this game, coming off the double-digit loss earlier this week. It's a tough call here. I think Kansas is probably the better team, but you're right. Those road concerns are a concern.
Guys, I wanted to get into the Auburn Tigers. We missed out on this last night, Cam, with Drew. I wanted to show some love to his team.
Yeah.
Because Auburn right now, a lot of people are buying in. If you look at the national championship odds, they're right there. Right, in the 10 to 12 to 1 range. They're just smashing teams when they play them at home. And you get a Kentucky team that people started to buy into, but Kentucky have struggled as of late. What do you make of this game, Steve? Laying 8.5 points with Auburn, the total 164.5.
Yeah, Kentucky's a very inconsistent team. They're 17-7 on the season. They're capable of beating anybody, but they're inconsistent. They never led against Tennessee in that other top 10 matchup a couple Saturdays ago. Lost by double digits. And the thing that jumps out to me about it was at home, exactly. In fact, they just beat Ole Miss on Tuesday night, and that snapped a 3-game home losing streak. They'd already had 4 losses at home this year. They'd had 4 total home losses the 3 previous seasons combined. So that shows that this Kentucky team is down a notch. Meanwhile, Auburn, what are they? I think they're ranked 13th right now. They're number 4 in the KenPom, and they're the only team in the country that is top 10 both offense and defensive efficiency. They're 9th and 4th. Nobody else is top 10 in both. So this is maybe the most balanced team in the country, maybe a number 1 or 2 seed, and they're only ranked 13th. So I think they're underrated. It looks like a big number, but Kentucky's not even in the top 100 in defense. That's been their problem, and that's why they've been inconsistent. Auburn undefeated at home. They just won by 40 against South Carolina. They're winning by average of 22 points a game at home this season. If you're going to play it, I would lay it.
Guys, I'm in on this. Look at this, Cam and Steve. Auburn to make the Final Four, plus 375. Pretty good odds.
Yeah, I've got them as a Final Four team right now. I've got them
I
as a
agree
top
with
4.
that. Guys, I got to ask you something weird. Like, does Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Steve and Gabe, I find very interesting. Virginia Tech is 1-6 on the road, and, people are betting them. That line opened 11.5. I'm seeing 9.5 now. Is there any, does that got trapdoor written all over it, Steve? I find that interesting, the people betting on V-Tech.
Yeah, especially since North Carolina's coming off a loss at Syracuse as an 8-point road favorite, and keep in mind the last couple of times, North Carolina, by the way, just 2-3 their last 5, but they bounced back and covered against Duke, and then they failed to cover against Miami, so they're only 1-4 against the spread their last 5, and I think that's one of the reasons maybe, Cam, we're seeing a little bit of a fade.
Interesting.
All right, Steve. NASCAR is back. It's the Daytona 500. And I just had to scroll a little bit to get used to clicking on NASCAR, and here it is right now.
The NASCAR finger. There you go.
Yeah, I had to scroll down a little bit. So Joey Logano is the favorite right now at 10-1. Denny Hamlin is 11-1. Keselowski is 12-1. Blaney is 12-1. Chase Elliott is 14-1. Christopher Bell is 14-1. Buescher 16. Bubba Wallace 18. Kyle Busch 18. Kyle Larson, 18. William Byron, 18. Truex, 20. So we all know the drill that the Daytona 500 is kind of the most random of all the NASCAR races. Yet there is a usual suspect crew that usually run well here at the same point in time. What do you make of this race, Steve? Who catches your eye here?
Well, I mean, Logano, it's done pretty well so far the last week or so. We see him creep into that single-digit range, but normally everybody is like 10 or 11-1 to higher. And that's the only good thing about this randomness is you can take 5 or 6 drivers, especially if you take some of those 30 to 40 long shots that often hit and have a nice little card. It's a lot like how Cam does golf. You can take a lot of guys because normally in a NASCAR race, the favorite's like 3 or 4-1, So when Kyle Larson's dominated or Kevin Harvick's dominated over the years. With that said, though, it is random. You could literally be winning the race on the final turn and still get taken out and not even finish. But for that reason, you want to have a big card. Same guys do run better here than other tracks. Michael McDowell won a few years ago. He's been good on these tracks, awful elsewhere. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has been good here, mediocre elsewhere. Keselowski, who you mentioned in that top 3 or 4 there, Gabe, he's running his own car. He hasn't been very competitive, but he's still great on super speedways. So there are certain drivers that seem to get it done, and Denny Hamlin's probably been as good as any of them over the last decade or so.
Allmendinger is 80-1, Steve, in that range.
Yeah, he's another guy. Good call. I mentioned him on a radio show. I do Tennessee Valley, Alabama show, so we talk NASCAR every Thursday, and I saw him as well at pretty good odds. He's a guy you think of as a road course ringer, but he's done surprisingly. You know, you'd think the road courses and super speedways would be the biggest opposite, but for some reason, Michael McDowell, a very good road course racer, good intermediate, good super speedway.
Who's the dude that dated Danica Patrick?
Guy.
He was good on.
Stenhouse.
He's good at this. Yeah, that was Stenhouse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think you're onto something with Allmendinger. He is a guy I've mentioned on some shows this week. I like where you're going with that.
Allmendinger's plus 260 to be top 10. Pretty good odds. Not bad.
It's like the golf.
For a
yeah,
guy
I like that.
that knows how to navigate this course, right? And, in a situation like this. So for plus 210. Great to have NASCAR back. I look forward to Formula One is coming back in a couple of weeks as well. So the motorsport season is upon us. So, Steve, give us the winner. Throw it out there. Who you taking?
Like I said, you could take 5 or 6 guys. I got Allmendinger on my ticket. Here's what I'll do, Gabe. I'll give you a couple of the favorites and a couple long shots. Logano and Hamlin on the favorites. Allmendinger, McDowell, Stenhouse.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where these Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management.
Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in the 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game could take a bunch of casts off and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they wanted the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas? Maybe in the future, they get Luka Doncic.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell, coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live, prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage Late
sort of
Night.
has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I can't believe it, but they had in-game numbers for the first 2 games. All right, here it is right now at the bottom. They just posted it, but they got it locked. So Team Jalen is minus 3.5. All right, come on, you jerks. The game has started. Unlock it.
Jerk.
All right, here we go. Yeah. So it's minus 3.5. What do you think, Cam? Are the G League guys going to win again?
I'm not getting involved. This is your battle right now because I'm telling you, my heart wants me to take guys who are not in the NBA because that's the way I roll. I like underdogs and good stories, Morency. If you think they're going to gag or whatever, but they played pretty well against a pretty good team. Maybe these guys are just on a mission. I have no opinion.
The book is confused. They're just locking this now, even though the game has started. It's annoying.
Yeah.
It's the first to 25 only. The total is 45.5, but it's locked. All right, they just unlocked it. 45.5. I'm going to say it goes over 45.5. All right, I'm going in again. One more last spin here.
There you go.
All right, I'm going over 45.5. Spinning. All right, that's accepted. Man, they're minus 4.5 right now. All right, I'm going to take them.
If they win by 4, you're going to snap. If you could have got,
I have them to win the tournament in advance too. No. I took them already at plus 125 today to win the tournament, but it sucked because they were minus 175 earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
And it went down because people are paying attention to this new, but everybody's getting thrown off here. Let's bring in Mick Aussie right now. Mick Aussie in the house. What's going on, Mick? How you doing?
Mick.
Yeah, good, mate. New house, new setup, beautiful leather couch. So I hope I'm looking all right, mate.
Yeah, look good.
So what? You moved, Mick? You're in a new location now?
Oh, no, we're back in our normal house. We had to move out for 3 months as they redid the whole inside. So I got my own room and everything. It's awesome, man.
Well, you've got an asbestos problem.
Mold?
What kind of problem you got?
That's what I was gonna say. Asbestos minus 300. Like what the?
We got dead bodies in the basement, Mick. Yeah, what's going on? You need to evacuate the house for 3 months.
3 months. Yeah.
I don't know if I want to have the answers to these questions. Like you're pretty you're back where? Like, I don't know. Like
you put it.
You're looking good though.
I just gonna say you might need to learn how to apply some sunscreen, Gabe, You know, remember Scotty Frill racing you and Cam up today? That was awesome, mate. I was laughing so hard I nearly slipped in the truck and ran into the curb because of the icy roads, mate. That was funny.
Yeah, we had sunstroke. I had blisters all over my body. I almost it was a problem. Yeah, it was.
I thought Pharrell was going to have a heart attack again today on the air. So this game is off and running right now. The G League guys are battling early once again. They really are. They mean business. You know, they're showing they're trying to make a name for themselves. And I understand why. I mean, the NBA world is watching right now. In fact, they're winning 4-2. So we're in on the over the game, over 45.5. It's first to 25. So do the math. If it's 25-24, it's going to go over 25-23. These games have been pretty close. All right. So I expect this one to be pretty close as well. Let's see how it plays out. So, Mick, what'd you think of the Super Bowl? This is your last chance. And after this, then now that, it's the end of the week, the Super Bowl is done. For the record, they arrested 2 people as far as the shootings are concerned. 2 juveniles. I think they're going to be charged as adults, but 2 juveniles who basically had a personal dispute with each other. So these jackasses, instead of just settling it amongst themselves, have to shoot each other in a parade and kill a mother and shoot 23 people, which is ridiculous. So, they ruined this family's life. Both these punks are going to be in jail the rest of their life, as they should be. But, so the arrest has been made there. Props to Taylor Swift. She donated $100,000 to the family of the mother that passed away. But after this, Mick, we move on. Next week. So you get the last word as far as the Super Bowl is concerned.
Yeah, first of all, RIP to the lady that tragically died. And, well, we're not going to get into the gun debate, but I'd love to. It's ridiculous down there with the guns. But anyway, congratulations. Well done to Taylor and Travis donating the money. And she just performed in front of her biggest crowd ever, 96,000 last night at the MCG, the home of AFL and cricket in Melbourne. So that was a massive event. Then she's going to Sydney. But the Super Bowl, first half, very boring. Now, I like a defensive battle. Absolutely I do. But too many mistakes. Too many damn commercials. It was ridiculous in the first 10, 15 minutes. How many commercials? That was out of control. And the crazy story, I think, is that 49 players, some of them, didn't know the overtime rules. So if they happened to score a touchdown, wouldn't have been funny if they all ran out celebrating. I reckon 70 to 80% of decent NFL fans know that there's a new overtime rule. So Kyle Shanahan, totally unprepared there. And it's true because I heard some interviews with the NFL players. But I tipped the Chiefs by 6 with 2 points to the Taylor Swift factor. There was no Taylor Swift factor. Chiefs would have won by 4. Would have won by 4 on here. So I'm 1 point off again. As per the calculation, when I picked them by 10 and they won by 11. So my calculation wins again, boys.
It. You're unbelievable, Mick. That's the best. It's framed like a family photo. Super Bowl calculation game. That's
There's a lot.
Framed.
I like you save them for posterity.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I like the I always like hearing the mic'd up stuff. And the Super Bowl, it's been released, the mic'd up version of the game. They edit out the crazy swears or whatever. You know what I mean? So you're getting all kinds of video. And like you said, Mick, it's pretty alarming, actually. Not just that the San Francisco players kind of didn't know the rules or the coaches didn't. The confusion on the sideline about it as well. Like, because to me, it's one thing, whatever. If you're a player, it's not even on your mind, whatever. If you're on offense, you're trying to score. If you're on defense, you're trying to stop them. It's not really your job to think about the consequences. You're up there trying to make plays. But when you see Kansas City sideline about just how prepared they were for everything and how happy they were when San Francisco took the ball, to San Francisco were just confused, like on the sidelines. Like the players, when they went on the field, they didn't know. They were talking to each other. They're mic'd up. They were like, do we win the game if we score? And Buddy was like, I don't know. I think so, but I don't know. Like, it was really bad. So instead of just sort of being dialed in, so long story short, if you watch the video, San Francisco players are talking to each other like it's a game against the Arizona Cardinals or something in October. They're all like, so this is crazy. Hey, overtime. Hey, so what's the rules anyways? And they're kind of going back and forth. Meanwhile, Mahomes is like yelling at everybody on the Chiefs side like, this is our moment. This is what we were born for. This is why we're here. Kelsey's like, this is what we wanted. We wanted the ball second. Let's go. And like, you just see the difference, man. It was like one side was like playing street ball and pickup, and the other side, Mick, was like a professional, like army unit. You know what I mean? It was like the Marines against like the guerrillas in the woods or something. Man, like KC were freaking prepared, and it showed. It definitely did. Shanahan cost them the Super Bowl, point blank. It's his fault they lost.
I agree.
Yeah, look, the only thing that I wasn't sure of, but common sense tells you that the game would have kept going. Like the Chiefs won it with only a few seconds left to go in OT. So everyone knows it would have kept going. That's common sense. But
but they really didn't. They really didn't, because Chris Fowler and everybody on the radio side, like I said, even announcers didn't know. There were football players tweeting out, they got to call timeout. They got to call timeout. People thought the clock was stopping. And I got to be honest, too, Nance and Romo did a horrible job of not telling the rules to people. They really should have been very specific about it. And then on top of it, too, Mahomes, who was it? It was the Gibson guy. Gibson, not Gibson guitars, but Gibson. He's a defensive. He's on the Niners defense. He's an idiot. Like, he said to Mahomes on the field, bro, like in the fourth quarter, you're just an average quarterback. You ain't nothing. It's like, dude, like right after the game, Mahomes is mic'd up. He's like, who's effing average? Who's effing average? It's like, bro, like don't poke Mahomes, man, and call him average. Like, the great players take that stuff, right? Like San Francisco talk, like you'll see if any, like I said, watch the mic'd up stuff. San Francisco talked a lot of smack and didn't even know the goddamn rules.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know what really annoyed me? And now I like this guy. He's cool. I've been listening to the podcast with him and his brother, Travis Kelce, pushing Andy Reid. I don't want to go back to when I played, but if you did that back in Australia years ago, only the best player in the team would survive and he'd be suspended for a month. Anyone else would
His
be
brother called him out
on
for
the
it.
spot. The
Yeah,
respect
Jason
is
called him
terrible.
out.
You don't do that.
Jason Kelce called out Travis on their podcast for it. He said, you crossed the line. He said, you were way out of line. He basically told him, like, we would have grabbed you, like if I was your teammate. You know what I mean? But it was, listen, the season is done as far as the games are concerned, Mick. But up next, the Denver Broncos on the clock here. I would not be surprised if they end up with my guy, J.J. McCarthy. And if they do, then I'm going to become a Bronco fan. I'm a Bills fan, but I'm gonna support whatever team my guy goes to, J.J. McCarthy. So I got a feeling he goes to, I keep seeing Minnesota, but Minnesota draft 11th, Denver draft 12th. I think he's going to end up either in one of those two spots, but somebody could surprise us and take him higher right now, Mick. But don't be surprised if J.J. McCarthy's the new quarterback of the Denver Broncos.
Wow. I did hear someone say that, might have been you, but another one of my favourites was saying that Kirk Cousins might possibly be at 49ers, but I doubt it. I think Purdy played very well. If 49ers won, Purdy or McCaffrey would have been
Kirk Cousins not going to the Niners.
Nah.
The whole reason they're good is because Brock Purdy makes $880,000, so they can afford to pay everybody. They're not going to turn around and pay Kirk Cousins $50 million.
That's how teams win on rookie deals.
That's not happening.
That's when Seattle won with Russell Wilson. You could pay for other guys. Rookie deals are huge. That's the key.
Yeah, exactly. One team for Kirk Cousins, more than one team, a lot of teams. A lot of teams are going to want Kirk Cousins. But one team to really keep your eye on for Kirk Cousins, guys, is the Raiders. Jimmy G failing this drug test today was the best thing that could have happened to them. Since he failed the drug test, they can release him now with no – they don't have to honor the contract, point blank, boom. And they're not going to. Bam, they're off the hook for the $38 million now or something like that. Like it was $50 million for 2 years, whatever. It's like $38 million off the cap hit. Like they struck gold. Like he could not have helped them anymore by doing this. So the Raiders have all this money. They have the draft pick, right? They have the 13th pick. To the Raiders, I don't think the Raiders aren't the type of team that strike me as they don't want to develop a quarterback. I don't think they're going to be 13th, or they're going to say, oh, you know what, let's take Michael Penix here. Dude, Michael Penix might be a bust, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I don't buy in. Like, I wouldn't make him the franchise. Mina Kimes brought it up today, guys, and I'm with her. Like, to keep your eye on the Raiders. The Raiders have $50 million to spend. Kirk Cousins to the Raiders makes a lot of sense. More on the other side. This is Sports Rage.
I'm sort of starting to figure out where the Canadian guys play well, bro. Not Hawaii, not California. Give me a Canadian in Ohio, Cam. Give me a Canadian in Michigan. Give me a Canadian at the Waste Management.
Good old Charlie Hoffman, the representative of Waste Management, played the best tournament of his life in 8 years and lost in a playoff to the Canadian. It turned out to be like a wicked tournament. Shout out to Nick Taylor, gave BC's finest.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
It is a big I told you so if Mac Jones comes back and Mayo keeps him and the Patriots don't draft a quarterback at number 3. But the fan base is a big problem. I mean, you bring back
fan base will be fine if they win.
There's the if. There's the if. If they win, fan base won't care if you're quarterback in the Patriots if they win.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Caravan came back. They did have a couple of transfers here. The reality is UConn is every bit as talented and dangerous as they were 1 year ago.
If there's a guy, Joe Ranieri, that for one game could take a bunch of cast-offs and steal a game, his name's Eric Spoelstra.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Another reason why they won the deadline is the number is 7. Those are the tradable first-round picks the New York Knicks have. And that could be something to look out for in the future. Does New York back it up and throw a ton of picks to a team like Dallas? Maybe in the future, they get Luka Doncic.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Your 24/7 sports wagering network. The early line.
Magical and historic season in Lincoln, Nebraska continues.
He is the best player in the NBA, but also in the biggest moments where the national media is watching.
Newswire.
Something that we have never seen happen before with one of the iconic coaches in the game.
Pharrell coast to coast.
The team covers. It's automatic. It's every time. Not sometimes. It's every time.
Game time decisions.
Luka is actually far more dangerous from 3 on the road this year than at home.
This game here tonight, you may want to consider taking as many points as humanly possible.
In-game live. Prime time.
We got not 1, but 2 coaches fired systems in place.
SportsRage late
sort
night.
of has letdown written all over it. It's going to be hard to match the emotion that they played with the other night.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Team Jalen has just won the Rising Stars Challenge. The G League guys got smoked. The game stayed under the number, but they covered. They won like 25-12 type thing, 25-13. So the game stays under. Team Jalen rose champions of the Rising Stars Challenge. So that's done. Just quickly, too, there are reports now as well, although, put it this way, guys, if you're Kenny Pickett, you're done in Pittsburgh. Like, it's over for you. Like, it's done. Like, there's all kinds of rumors and stuff that Mike Tomlin likes Justin Fields and wants to get Justin Fields. Now, Mike Florio is reporting and others are reporting that the Pittsburgh Steelers, that Kirk Cousins wants to be a Steeler, and that the Steelers, there's some in the Steeler camp that are open to Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is going to end up on a contending team. Like, he is the big prize free agent out there. You could argue about his playoff success in the past or lack of it. I don't think it's all his fault. But Kirk Cousins is about to get paid, man. He's going to get like $50 million a year. Thing is, too, he's not going to get like a 5-year deal or anything because he's a little older. So, maybe 3 years, like some crazy amount of money. 4 years at a crazy amount of money. But Kirk Cousins is about to get paid. Who knows where he ends up, but I doubt, Mick, that it's with your Denver Broncos, just because of the monetary stuff.
Oh, wow!
It'll handcuff them. They're already going to eat money with Russell Wilson. Like the Broncos need to start over a quarterback and get a rookie contract in there.
Yeah, we're messed up for a while, and the fact that we could have taken Justin Fields, and there was thoughts they were going to do that a few years ago. I mean, how good will that look now for Fields and didn't get Russell Wilson? Terrible, it's crazy, mate.
The thing with the Broncos is the Bronco defense, Mick, wasn't that good last year.
Yeah.
So it's not like they have some stellar defense, and there's a lot of parts to put together there. So we're, March 7th, March 8th, Mick. AFL football's back.
Yes, got some odds here prepared for you. Not far away either, so they're my big three, as you know.
I didn't understand anything he said on the way out. Thanks, man.